you may encounter during the duration of this activity. Rest assured that we will count on your constructive comments as give us later your evaluation on this affair. In behalf of ICpEP-CAR family, I welcome you all with open hearts and minds, and we are happy to work with you throughout this event. Thank you at mabuhay tayong lahat.
Karen, nakamute ka.
Sorry. So thank you again, Sir Mars, for that wonderful welcome remarks. So I know you are so excited. So let me remind you first with our workshop structure. So this is a workshop. Let me remind you to please turn off or set your microphone to mute. For question, you can use the chat box. And then later, before we end the presentation or the workshop, we will be having a question and answer portion. So you may want to take note the question, and then we will ask the speaker to answer it at the end of the presentation. Okay, so let's start now. So we have here Sir Dion Tandingan to present to us our guest speaker for this event. Sir Dion.
Thank you, Karen. Good morning again to everyone. Um, Last December 5 of last year, during the 2020 ICpEP-CAR virtual convention, we invited Mr. Carlo Valdez of the University of the Cordilleras as resource speaker on Geographic Information System, in which the participants were introduced to the concepts of GIS and its various applications. According to Mr. Valdez, GIS is a framework or a system for gathering, managing, and analyzing data. Rooted in the science of geography, GIS integrates many types of data. It analyzes spatial location and organizes layers of information into visualizations using maps and 3D scenes. In this unique capability, GIS enables people to more easily visualize, analyze, and understand patterns and relationships, helping people make smarter decisions. We also stress that GIS helps the community in identifying problems by illuminating issues that are driven by geography. It could be used to monitor environment and climate change, manage and respond to events such as weather, tropical cyclones, and typhoons, perform forecasts in traffic, set priorities by analyzing the crime patterns, understand trends such as the COVID-19 mapping, and land surface temperature. Mr. Valdez also mentioned some applications of GIS in the field of computer engineering. He said, GIS may be incorporated in our IoT applications, early warning and monitoring systems, precision agriculture researches, drone development, and custom drone solutions. Some software tools that were enumerated before were the following that are used for GIS, including the QGIS, ISRI ArcGIS, Google Earth Engine, Leaflet.js, Python, and R, among others. Speaking of the QGIS, it is a free and open source GIS that allows users to create, edit, visualize, analyze, and publish geospatial information. With this, today we are honored and happy to have another resource speaker from the University of the Cordilleras, a full-blooded academician who will be talking about QGIS for hydrological application. She is a registered civil engineer whose major is in water resources engineering, a graduating student in BS Sanitary Engineering this coming April 2021, and finishing her thesis in Master of Science in Civil Engineering at De La Salle University, Manila. She is also involved in the ongoing research projects of UZ named Project Bundok, a mountain engineering center towards sustainable infrastructure and upland water security, which was approved last March of 2021 by the DOST as funding agency for 3 years. She attended numerous seminars and trainings here and abroad. I don't imagine how she could manage her time in doing all of this. Oops, by the way, she is still single. So, without further ado, let us all welcome our lecturer for today, Engineer Michelle Balong-Angi.
Hi, sir. Good afternoon. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Parang ang galing-galing ko nung introduce ako ni Sir Dayon. uh, you can call me Mitch. You can call me Michelle if you have questions on our seminar. So, by the way, I did create a PowerPoint for you, but I think it's better that we can just look at it from time to time because I do not want to evade the space kasi we will be having a workshop for the QJS hands-on para makita yung screen po. So I'll just share my screen. Sir, can you please enable?
Karen, please.
Wait lang po, sir. Wait.
Okay,
Okay na
so
po.
by the way, thank you, Ma'am Karen. So, by the way, your first speaker, Sir Carlo, I learned QJS from him too. Siya po ang first instructor ko. Ma'am, hindi pa rin po pwede ang share screen.
Oh, Karen.
Okay. Not yet, sir. While Ma'am Karen is doing that, I'll just share my experience with QJS. As I've told you, my first experience was from Sir Carlo because we were given a project by Headcore. It was for my thesis sa undergrad for my civil engineering. And what we did was to create or delineate a watershed for their project because they are now under developing hydropower. So, ang gagawin po namin is to determine if we will now divert the water from the community, would it still be enough to supply the community pagka i-divert namin for hydropower use. So, that is what we did using QGIS. And that version was like 2.1. So that version 2.1 was quite limited. So I'm happy that if you're starting QJS, you have a lot of functionalities to play with. Ang dami pong pwedeng yung gawin sa QJS. So, Ma'am Karen, sir, wala pa po.
Pwede na po.
Host
Naka-set
disabled.
na po sa akin. Wala pa. Ayun.
Ma'am, wala pa po eh. Host disabled participant screen sharing.
Kasi andito yung...
For multiple, Karen.
Yan, sir. Pa-check.
Ayan. Ma'am,
Ayun na
okay
po.
na.
Ayun na. Ayun na.
Thank you.
Ayun.
Yeah. Oops. Okay. And F5. So our topic for today, I would be introducing you to the applications of QJS. So, ano po yung mga basic na gagawin ninyo pagka meron tayong project for watershed management. So, first, we will determine the EPSG code of IMAP. That is what is universally used ngayon. And next, you can now install plugins. Now, for computer engineering, I think you would be happy with this one because you can now make your own plugins. What do I mean by plugins? Parang external application siya that you can now input into QGIS para para yung mga redundant processes, pwede mo na siyang mas simplify. And then to georeference, a scanned map kasi why do we use GIS? We use GIS because we want to automate all the pen and paper maps para gawin natin siyang digital copy. So, we do that by georeferencing that scan map, a picture map or yung parang na photocopy na map. So, we can do that by georeferencing. And we can make use of your coordinate capture tool and then use online layers from quick map services and to digitize, meaning from that pen and paper map, gawin mo siyang digital copy so that you can now, pagka may mga changes in your map, you can now modify it or recreate it to fit yung mga objectives mo. And then, make use of snap dissolve features and store data in a geo package. Pagka hindi niyo po pa alam yung mga terms na to, it's okay because ito po ang purpose ng webinar natin ngayon. So what is a JS? This came from my Coursera course from Don Boyce. So he's actually a great instructor when it comes to JS, and he said, do not capitalize JS because it's not a proper name. So it's an acronym, it's capitalized and with no periods. Kasi I also know, I also saw some students here and you might want to input it in your thesis or incorporate it in your thesis. So this is the proper way to put it. So, tatlo po ang JS natin. So, you can access it in a desktop. So, you have your hardware, you have your PC, you have your software, you have your QGIS, and then there are also other JS applications like ArcGIS. Yun naman po is for commercial use. Yun na po yung may bayad. And you have your data and you have your procedures. So you also have a cloud-based JS. So makikita nyo to pagka you are now using your ArcGIS. So you also have your hardware, your software, your data, and your procedures. However, for your WebJS, yung mga for phone, like Google Maps, you have your browser and your apps only. So I think Sir Dion gave this one to you. So the most stable one right now is QGIS 3.16 Hanover. So I hope you did install and you can run it. You can just go to www.qjs.com and then go to download now, and then you will see this figure here. So you can start with your standalone installer version 3.16 pagka 64 or 32. So what is this OSGeo4W network installer? This is when you have now, pagka gusto mo nang i-update and you do not want to download again the standalone installer, then you can just install this one, OSGeo4W, and then automatically, siya na yung mag-a-update ng applications. So, there are different types of QGIS when you will now install. Parang tatlo or apat ang ilalabas niyang applications. But for now, we will use the QGIS Desktop 3.16.3 with grass. So why does it have to be with grass? Because we will now analyze rasters and vectors. And to do that, we need an external application like grass. So I'll exit my PowerPoint here and we can go to your hands-on. So, pwede pong i-side nyo na lang po yung sa Zoom, half and then half for your QGIS. So, we can start. I'll just open this one. Oops. Ayan. So, matagal po talaga siyang mag-load because it's now getting the plugins and everything. So, be patient lang po. Okay po. There. Please mag-react na lang po kayo if okay na po, na-open nyo na yung application. So by the way, hindi naman po tayo pare-pero ng screen because I have projects and plugins already installed. Ba? Did you open your applications?
Yes, I've opened it.
Okay po. So, like every application, we will start with a new one. So you can just press it here, or you can just press Control N. That will now stand for a new project. Ayan. So let me introduce you to your user interface. So the first thing that you want to check or that you want to change is your EPSG code. So I don't know if Kuya Carlo discussed this one with you, but you have to change this one because it's like layers. Pag hindi magkakadugtong yung layers, kung saan-saan po siya napupunta. So, we need to establish a way so that when I will now put a layer, it should now coincide with the other layer. So, we will now use your EPSG code. So, we can start with, for your activity, encode NAD27 here. You can encode NAD27 UTM zone 18N. Okay. So, in opening your project, you please first change your EPSG code. Now, this EPSG code will now ensure that when you will now put in layers, magkakapatong po sila, right? So, we do that by fixing your coordinate reference system or your CRS. And for your CRS, because your file is this one, it's this one, Mount Marcy. So, I think binigay po ni Sir Dayon ito sa inyo. Nakalagay po kasi sa map, it's the reference is na 27. So, andito. So, what we want to do is now make sure that the reference system of this map will now coincide with your QGIS map. So, pagkabalik natin, pagka na-check nyo na, na-check nyo na yung reference system, you click on NAD 27 UTM Zone 18N. So you just click apply and then okay. So there, napalitan na yung EPSG code. So how will now I import my raster image to my QGIS? You do that with your raster. So let me go back to my PowerPoint. There. So we have to, you have to check and change your projection always. Let me move here. So there are two types of data that you would be working on, except for maps only. So you have your vector and your raster layers. For vector layers, these are discrete objects like buildings, roads, parks, ganyan. So yung discrete objects are usually vector layers. Wherein pagka continuous phenomena like elevation, temperature, those are now raster layers. So ang gusto natin is to recreate the physical features of kung ano man ang meron sa labas and then to recreate it in a digital platform. So we do that using your layers. So ang elevation or our map is now a raster layer. So pagka-image, usually that is now a raster layer. So let's go to the QGIS. Let's go to raster and go to georeferencer. Pag wala po kayong georeferencer, go to plugins, right? Pag wala po kayong georeferencer, go to plugins and manage and install plugins. And then there, hanapin nyo po yung georeferencer but pagka old versions po kasi ang in-install nyo, wala po yung georeferencer under raster. But the latest version, it's already incorporated under the raster tab. Okay po? Are you there na? Sir Dayon? Okay. So may lalabas pang isang a pop-up window. And then we need to add now the raster. So you go to this icon here and it will say open raster. So open and then you open the file given to you. It's this one, Mount Marcy, New York, USGS, Topomap 1979. And then you click on open and mag-a-appear na siya sa screen ninyo. So what we want to do is to ascertain that Mount Marcy will now be located in Mount Marcy pagka inopen natin yung quick map services ninyo. So we do that by getting points in your map and then put it in our QGIS. So we will now input your GCP points. So we're done with this here with your georeferencer. So we will now add your ground control points. So kahit saang point naman yan kunin nyo, I just looked at this one, ito, sa mga sides, and then input it. So you click on this one, add point, and then let's start with the first one. So the first one is 4885,000. And then at the top is 58100 at the east. So nakalagay northing and easting. So tinable ko na lang for easier reference. So I can do it in half. There, para makita nyo. So the first one is this one here. So kung saan sila nag-intersect, then that will now be the point that you want to get. So my advice is that you zoom in, you do it with a mouse because you would be having a hard time panning with your touchpad. So click on it and you have to input your X or your east and your Y or your north. Kaya, oops, this is 58100 for the north, 58100, and 488500. And you just click on OK, and you will now see a tiny dot. Okay na po? Okay, so we can now go to the next one. I think the next point is here, there. So next, again, input it, click on the point. So my next point is 5990 and 488600. So hanapin nyo na lang po, it's here, this one. Oops, I think it's not there, it's here. There. Here. If you want, so that you can, so that I won't be putting the GCP points in your PowerPoint, you can get a screenshot and then you encode it. Medyo matrabaho po talaga, but it's more on the panning and scrolling because you want to get the intersection of the points here. So this one, again, if you look, it's now 59900 and 4886. Oops, but parang mali? Sorry po. I need to check. 4886. Okay, so here. So, pagka malabo po yung intersection, you just estimate. So, maybe here, and then input it 599488. 4,886,000. And then, okay. So, you need at least 4 points so that we can now pin your scanned map to your QGIS. So, let's do 2 more. So here, I have 581, this point here, and 4873. So they intersected at this point, so you get that point. And this one is 581. Oops, one more. 581 and 4873. And click on OK. So that's it. And one last. As you are now inputting your points, makikita nyo po sa baba, you have your points there. So you have 1, 2, and 3. So my last point is this one. It's 6,000 or 6 million and 4,873,000. So here, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 4,873. And click on OK. So you have now 4 points. You can check your GCP points at your table below there. And what you want to do is now go to your settings. So we need to transform the map para we can now estimate on how it will now lay on your QGIS. So go to this one, yung parang tool, and it will now give you the transformation setting. So for demonstration purposes, we can just make it use of linear, and we go to your nearest neighbor. So if you want to know more about the transformation settings, kung bakit may linear, Helmert, polynomial, projective, there's actually a documentation on it sa QGIS website. It's all there if you want to really learn kung paano niya, the algorithm behind this one, the georeferencer. So you actually have to save it. So you go to your browser and maybe rename your TIFF file. So I don't know, we go Mount Marcy and then modified and save. Always save your work or else lalabas sa layers ninyo mamaya na it's a temporary file. So we save and then okay. So actually, these lines here will now tell you medyo malaki yung discrepancy or the error. Anyways, we can just go with this one. And then click on the play button and it will start georeferencing your map. And then pag nakita nyo dito sa side, it now showed the georeferenced map. So I can just close this one. Oops, here, yan. Okay, there. So, pagka hindi po lumabas yung map, you can ask me now. Lumabas po ba? Questions from the people, online people? Lumabas po ba yung maps ninyo? Okay, so I'll wait for you. Since I have already demonstrated, maybe I'll give you five minutes to do it. So these are your ground control points. Click on a point, their intersection, input your X or your east, your Y or your north, and then go to your transform settings, click on linear, then maybe pagka napalabas nyo, you may also want to try the different transform settings. Okay po? So 5 minutes, I'll give you 5 minutes to do it. Okay lang ba 5 minutes, sir? Or you need more time?
Guys, yung mga naghahanap ng ng file, can you check your chat box here in Zoom? I guess Sir Dion have shared the file. Okay? So, ayun. Nasa chat po natin yung file, yung map. I guess that's the map.
Ma'am Karen, you may want to upload it na lang sa Google Drive so that they can download the file. Kasi the total is 18 MB yung binigay ko po na file.
Ma'am, pa-check naman po yung nandito sa chat. I guess Sir Dion have shared it already. Wala po kasi ako yung file. I don't.
It's incomplete, Michelle. Karen. It's incomplete. I'm trying to upload doon sa ICpEP-CAR group chat natin. But yes, I uploaded yesterday, but I just don't know if it is successful. There's an error. You can't upload files at the moment. Ayan yung zip file.
Sir,
So ilagay ko na lang siya sa Google Drive.
Sir, ma-upload po kaya ngayon?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so we'll just wait po muna. Okay, guys, let's just wait for a while and then let's see if we cannot really do it later. Then maybe we will ask for a demonstration that you. Anyway, this is recorded. Okay, don't worry because this is recorded. You may always go back to the procedures and then later on do it on yourself, just in case we were not able to upload it. Because the problem would be, I guess, the yung ano natin, masyadong mabigat ata yung file. I'm also sorry kasi I wasn't able to download it yesterday. Okay? So while waiting, so yun, check na lang natin.
Yan. I placed the Google Drive link. Can you try downloading it? Restrict. How about that?
So
Okay na.
downloading, try ko.
Okay.
Okay, so everyone, the material or the map is already available in your Google. Kindly check chat box po. Okay. I'm also trying to download it. Pero ang tagal.
Maybe we can allot like 10 more minutes kasi po sayang pag hindi nyo na-download. So if you have access, you please download it and then add your ground control points. So if the lecture wasn't clear, please ask me.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. So, guys, we'll give you 10 more minutes to download and to prepare everything. And then we'll ask Ma'am Michelle again to if you have question. Okay? Ayan. So, mag-background music na lang muna ata ako. Okay, so let's download, guys.
um, you go to NAD. Or it's okay, pagka hindi nyo po nilagay muna yung CRS, it's okay. You can just go to raster agad, go to raster and go to georeferencer. And then after referencing, you can just go to settings and dito nyo na lang po palitan yung CRS nyo. So I've just demonstrated that after at the beginning of every project, kapag gagawa na kayo, the first thing that you want to change is your EPSG or your reference system. But this time, it's okay if you did not put it first, you can just go directly to your georeferencer. So EPSG 26718, NAD 27, UTM zone 18N. So I think I'll leave it here and also with the PowerPoint so that you can see the points, GCP points. So for those who are still using the georeferencer, I did draw on the screen, so you may want to follow that one. Hanapin nyo po yung intersection, you pan on it hanggang makita nyo yung pixel, the square one, and then click on it. Hello po, are you still there? So I think we can continue. You can continue that one later kasi marami pa po tayong gagawin. So the next thing that you want to do if you have already your map in your QGIS na kamount na siya is to check whether it's really there. So one feature that is now great when it comes to 3.16, 3.18 is that you have your quick map services. On my time, medyo pahirapan po kaming maglagay ng mga pictures because we need to get a digital copy and then embed it in QGIS. For you have the cloud-based GIS kung saan you can now import that map into your QGIS. So you can go to web and you have quick map services. If you do not have your quick map services, then you go to plug in again and manage and install plugins. So, hanapin niyo po, you should have your quick map services. Pagka wala, you can go to all, you can go to all, and then search quick map services. So magpapakita there, you have your quick map services. Here on the right side, it is a brief description of what the plugin will now do. So kaya nga sabi ko, I think this is exciting for you computer engineers because you can now develop your own code dahil it's now Python based. You can create your own plugin and then upload it into parang plugin library. I think basta may library and then you can now upload and others can also use it. So kung gusto mo parang batchmaker na magda-download ng mga maps, you can do that. There's also a plugin for that. Kung gusto mo i-compute na niya agad ang gantong mga variable, then you can also do that. So you click on install plugin and then wait for a while and then you go back to the installed, then you can already see your quick map services there. So after installing your plugin, you can now go to web and you can now see your quick map services. So your quick map services, pili ka na kung anong gusto mong map. So the most basic, we can go to your OSM standard there and check. Okay. So here, I have made my Mount Marcy 50% transparent. To do that, para ma-check ko lang kung talagang nag-coincide sila, you can now go to transparency and make it 50%. So if I will now disable my Mount Marcy and check again with my embedded map, parang closely it will now resemble from the quick map services to my embedded map. Okay po? So that's one way of checking whether you are really doing the right thing. Kaya nga po kailangan yung CRS nyo planchado. Kasi pag hindi planchado, your map might end up somewhere. Baka hindi dito, baka pumunta somewhere here, outside. So, um, wait for a while. It's loading the map, kaya po ganyan. And then pag nawala kayo, you can just click on your layer and zoom to layer and it will bring you back to your map. Okay? So maybe another 5 minutes for you to download the quick map services and then check whether your map coincided. So I'll open this one here. I'll give you maybe 5 minutes to do that. Okay na po ba? Okay, so overview, what we did was from a scanned map, this one, Mount Marcy, from a scanned map, ilipat natin siya sa QGIS. So we did that using your georeferencer. So to do that, we should also know the data that we are processing. So ang data natin is a raster. So we go to raster and go to your georeferencer. So the next thing that we did was to now import Mount Marcy, open it, and then include your GCP points. Pagka nalagay nyo na yung GCP points, what's important is when we go to processing, you go to linear first for a simplified transformation, and the resampling method is nearest neighbor. And then your target SRS should be EPSG 26718. Um, that is quite important, especially pagka you will now include yung mga maps na walang CRS. Kasi kung saan-saan pupunta yung mga scanned maps natin. And then, you should also go to output raster because we want it to be a permanent file. Pagka close mo kasi yung GIS and you did not save that raster file that you have modified, then mawawala yung ginawa mo. So, GIS needs to know where is that raster file that you modified. So you have to save it, you give it a name, an intuitive name, and then click on OK. So after now inputting all of those, then you can now check. Let me just exit my georeferencer. Ayan. So, what we want to do now is to check kasi nalagay mo na siya. So, initially, it would look like this. And then, what I want to see is my layer, is it really coinciding with Mount Marcy pag nag-pull out ako ng online map. So, to do that, I can go to web and go to Quick Map Services. If you don't have Quick Map Services installed, you can just go to plugin, manage and install plugins, and then search for Quick Map Services, and then install. After installing, you now go to web and Quick Map Services. So you can click on OSM standard. So to parang Photoshop lang siya, that if you want to see a layer, then you click on the box here to enable it. So here, I can see that it is quite close to the online map created by OSM. So marami pa yan. So pagka marami na kayong nalagay and you want to remove, then you just click on this one and then remove. And then we can also go to others. I'll just show you. We can go to SREMAP and we go to satellite. So, like I've told you, it works like Photoshop. So, kailangan kong i-disable the layer above it so that I can now see the SREMAP and my map should look like this. So, there's a lake here, lake, and then check. Ayan. So, I can now say that my georeference map is now coinciding with the online map. So I think I like the OSM better. Okay, so I hope you can still follow. So sabi ko kanina, our purpose is to now create a digitized form of this map para if there are changes, for example, this one, kita nyo to? So this will now, this lake may be moved somewhere here. So we can just modify our polygons or lines later on to fit yung mga changes. So how do we do that? We now create a layer that would now represent all the features of this map. So tatlo yan. We have points, we have lines, and we have polygons. So we can start with points. What are point features? So this Mount Marcy has a lot of peaks. So maybe you want to represent those peaks as points. So hanap ako here, McDonald Mountain, there. Ano pang ibang points meron dito? Yung mga parang peaks ng mountains or mga picnic grounds, ganyan. So you can represent those as points. So let me pick one. Maybe here, para marami yan. So I have Mount Redfield here. So what I want to do now is to create a layer of points that will now represent those peaks. So I go to layer and then create a layer. So there are different packages or there are different data that you can now import in QGIS. So ang pinakabago is our geo package layer. Pag pupunta tayo sa file na binigay ni Sir Dayon that for your activity today, usually, if you will ask data from a government, you are given a lot of files. And those files, parang extension yon ng original file mo. So those data are now embedded. Hindi pwedeng isang file lang ang ilagay mo sa QGIS. So that's how the programmer or yung gumawa ng system, that's how he thought of a way to now incorporate all of those data. So dapat yung apat wag mong tanggalin. But there is now a new file type that compresses all of these files into one, and it's called a geo package. So pag pupunta ka sa layer, you can now see that one. You create a new geo package layer. So you won't go to shapefile or this files here. We can just directly go to your geo package layer. Pero do not be surprised pagka humingi kayo ng data in other agencies and you get like 3 files with the same name but different extension files like XML, OBG, DWG, magkakasama talaga yan. Okay, so we click on new package layer and you create a name for your database. So I'll have to look for my folder and save it there. So let's say this will now be peaks. And then save. So that will now be the name of your geo package. And then your geometry, you have point, line, polygon. For no geometry, this is now for tables, but we won't be discussing that one in this seminar. We can click on points. And then another thing that you want to change is your EPSG. Again, mawawala itong points mo kung hindi magkatugma. So look for EPSG 26718, NAD 27. Make sure that you are consistent. And then, so that your geo package layer can be created successfully, you need to include a new field. Your new field meaning ano yung feature that you want to represent as a point. So let's say mountain peaks. And mountain name, the name of the mountain. And then, is it a text data? Is it a whole number? Is it a decimal number? Date ba yan? Is it Boolean, true or false? Is it binary? So, you know those types. So, it's a text data and you should put a maximum length. So, let's say 100, and then you have to add field list. Then you can now see it is now successfully included in your field list. And then that's it. You click on OK. And then when you go to your layers, you have your peaks there. So, hindi mo siya makikita dahil wala ka pang nilagay na points. But you need to rearrange it such that your peaks will now be on top of your layers. So, it's a drag and drop motion. So, Mount Redfield, I need to get that point, or I need to represent that point. So, you see the pencil in your layers tab. No, it's not layers tab. In your UI or your user interface. So, yung yellow pencil, click on it. It says toggle editing, meaning you will now start editing. So parang Python din, you need to inform JS that you will now be starting creating points. So this yellow pencil will now tell JS, okay, I'm ready now to include my points. So to include a point, you look on the right side, yan, mga 2 layers or 2 tabs. So add point feature. So click on it, and then you get a different cursor. So parang target, and then look for it, look for the intersection, maybe. So somewhere here, and then it will now show you a pop-up. For the field, do not be worried with the field, but what's important is the field name or the mountain name. Kasi yan yung nilagay nating field kanina. So this is now Mount Redfield. And okay, so if I will now zoom out, I can now see this point here. So I'll do 2 more or 3 more, and it would be your turn. So just look for a point. This is Cliff Mountain. Sa baba. And okay. Okay, so marami pang features dito. There's a lot of mountain peaks here. So maybe as an activity, you look for 10 points that you would now like to represent. Okay? So mga 10 points, I think that's manageable because you will just click on it and then input the name. So after editing, kapag tapos ka na, or you want to take a break, you want to save your edits. So you go to save layer edits. And then that's it. So, okay na. Oops. So we can now check. To check the data that you have now inputted here on your layer, you go to Open Attributes Table. And you can see here, pag hinighlight ko yung Mount Cliff there, and then look at my map, there will now be a selection in yellow. So it's this one. So Mount Cliff is here. Asan na yung attribute? Okay, so that is now your attributes table. It is a table summarizing all the fields, all the features, all yung data na nilagay mo sa layer na yon. So you can just save it there. To unselect, you go here, deselect all features, and you can just click on close table. So those, I will now change my symbology because I want that my points will now be more visible for me. So you can go to layer styling. To do that, you press F7 on your keyboard. Press F7. Kapag you don't have F7, you can just go to properties there and you go to symbology. So symbology, maybe you want to change it to red, then apply and okay. So you can see that your points are already in red. So I also want to see the name of the mountains. So you can also do that in symbology. So you go to properties and you now go to labels. So here, tatanungin ni GIS, what do you want us to label those points? So you go to single label and you go to the field mountain name. So I also want to have a buffer around my text, so you just click on buffer. You can just explore on it later on and apply and okay. So you can see here, you have now the different names of the mountains. Okay. Sir, kindly accept daw po Miss Annie Singyaw.
Karen, please.
Okay, so you can improve on this one. You can play with the symbology, okay, para mas maganda yung tingin. So this in QGIS, all the important layers will now there will now be a parang rendering kung saan nag-a-adjust yung text and yung symbol size. So parang in here, kitang-kita yung mga text, but when we now zoom on it, masyado siyang maliit. It's actually a feature of your GIS. So that is also for good reason, because yung data masyadong malaki, hindi kayang i-load lahat ni GIS. So ang ginagawa niya is that it will now only show the relevant features that you want to see at that moment. Okay? So you can do that for points, and we can also do that for lines. So if you look at our map, you have contour lines here, right? So we can go to layer again, create layer, and create a geopackage layer. So this time, I'll change my database to contour lines. Ayan. And my geometry this time is to connect a series of points, and that will now create my line. So you go to line and you change your EPSG code again to 26718. And then here you have your contour. Ayan. And then it's a number. It's representing yung elevation of that line. So we go to maybe decimal number, and then add field. Don't forget to add field, and then click on OK. So what do I mean? Like this one, the elevation here is 1,501. So I want to capture that one as a line. So what we need to do is to start toggle editing again, and then here, add line feature. So mas maganda, you zoom in and then start digitizing. So you can do this one roughly, but if your objective is to now get a more precise line and points, then you need to pan and zoom. Ayan. So, let me just finish this one. And then when you're done, click on right click, and it will now again ask you, okay, what would be the name of this contour? So that contour has an elevation of 1501 in meters. Okay? And then click on okay. So, hindi siya visible, but you can change that one in your symbology. So, you can do the next contour. It's here, 1,300. So, sundan nyo na lang yung line ng 1,300. Medyo malayo-layo yan. Or you can just go with the peaks. So, here, one more. The elevation here is 1,200 meters. So, digitize again. Again, yung precision, it depends on how precise you want to be in your layer. So, I'll click on it and then say this is 1,200 and okay. And then, hindi kasi siya kita. So, what you want to do is to make the lines thicker. So, you go to layer styling again, or you can just go to properties and go to symbology. And then, stroke width, or yeah, you can go to stroke width or the width of the line directly. And then you can also see here the different layer styles. So maybe I want it in black this time and 0.6 width. So apply and then okay. So I can now see better my contour lines. So after editing, you have to click on save again. So ito yung first one, and then this is the other one. So maybe you can do like 10 of it too. We'll add this to your activity later. So maybe we can have a 30-minute activity time mamaya so that you can finish all of this one. And then next one is for your polygon. Yung polygon is now to represent a anong feature, maybe like a lake or a park, or gusto mo sabihin this one is now the property of this person. So you will now create a layer for maybe a lake. So let's go with this one. Again, we go to layer and then create layer and then new geopackage layer. So this time, I only have lakes to represent my polygon. So your geometry, you change this one to polygon, lakes. Oops. Sorry. I need to save it. Lakes, save. Okay. And then polygon, and then change this one to 26718, and then add field name. This is a text data, meaning the name of that lake. And then maximum length, maybe 100 again, and click on OK. So that's it. So automatically, your cursor will now change from an ordinary crosshair to a target-like crosshair. So you can start here, digitizing. Oops. I have to start toggle editing and then add polygon. So this time, you can now see like a highlighted area here, meaning you are now digitizing a polygon. So here, again, you can do this roughly if you want. As I've told you, your digitizing will now depend on the objective that you want to achieve. Kung kailangan nyo ng mas accurate na data, then you have to zoom and pan and add more points. until you finish with this one. So, give me a while. Kaya matrabaho po itong digitizing because you have to click, zoom and pan, click, zoom and pan. Okay, so that will now be okay. Oops, bakit? And then open attribute table. I need to include another column because I forgot to add a column. So let's say here, lake name. And then change this one to a text. And then change this one to 100 and click on OK. Ayan, so meron ka ng lake name. So you can just change it here. Maybe this one, I'll just name it 1. Ano pangalan nito? Floodlands. And then save and you're good. I think that was not saved. Edit. Okay. There, so you can now create your lakes. There's a lot of lakes here. So you can do all of it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can do 5 polygons. Questions so far po? Is everything clear? Okay, so maybe we'll have this time. We'll have 30 minutes so that you can now create your lines and polygons. And at 11:30, we can start with printing your maps. Okay po? So you can just use the chat if there are parts of the demonstration that you have not understood. Maybe we'll have 30 minutes for this activity. So your objective is to get or to represent 10 points, meaning peaks. Kahit hindi peaks, maybe large or picnic area, ganyan. So you can do that. Or you have shelters, you want to represent those, then you can do that using your points. And then your contour lines, you represent the elevation through contour lines. So yan, well-defined. You create your lines. So you also do 10 of that. And then for your polygons, you can just do 5. And then that would be the end of your activity. Okay po? I'll see you in 30 minutes.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. So guys, if you have question, you can use the chat box. You can question anytime. So we'll just read your question later. Okay, thank you.
What do you mean po for merge? Kasi po, we are representing real points. Kaya kahit na magkalapit po sila, for example, this, asan na yung settlement kanina? Hindi po pwede kasi kailangan individual mo siyang i-represent. That's the point of why you're digitizing, so that you can see, okay, yung mga puno, for example, so there are like 435 pine trees all in all, or ilang bahayan dito, mga 500. So kahit po magkakatabi sila, one feature is not the same with another feature. Kahit na bahay-bahay, it should be represented separately. Okay po, no problem. If you have other questions, you please make use of the chat. Thank you. Ma'am, Ma'am Karen,
Yes po.
Ma'am Karen. Ma'am, maybe we can also ask the participants to share their screen later on para makita din natin kung anong ginawa nila for the activity.
Okay, ma'am.
Since they have 30 minutes po. So we can have it 11:30. Thank you po.
Yes po. Thank you. Hello everyone. So we still have 5 minutes for the activity. Those who would like to volunteer to share their screen, kindly just message us here in our chat box. Okay, so 11:25 na po. So 5 minutes to wrap up. Thank you. Okay, so it's already 11:30. So I hope you're able to do the activity. Baka yung mga may question po para masagot ni Ma'am Michelle. Pwede po kayong mag-unmute if you have question or use the chat box. Nagawa ba? Hello
Meron
guys.
po meron po ba? Or
Oh,
nag-i-install pa po kayo ng ng software?
ako nga po nagda-download pa. Nagsabay kasi yung Zoom and then anyway. Guys, open na po yung question and answer. You may use your chat box. If you don't want to use the chat box, you can um, just open your mic. Anyway, we're open for questions. Meron ba? Or anyone who wants to share? May nakagawa po ba? Okay. Ayun. Hanggang busy pa sila. Well, sayang kasi kulang yung oras natin, but definitely later siguro medyo mas mahaba-haba sana. And then ma-prepare na lahat ng materials. Yes. May nag-unmute. May question po. Ayan.
Tungkol sa pag-a-add point, may automated ba na point para mas madali i-add yung points?
Add points po sir for this one. Ganito po. This one. Tama po ba?
Wala po ata yung screen niyo. Hindi ko makita.
Yeah. Sorry. I'll share screen again. Share. Ito po, yung mga, when you will now input the points. I'm not sure, sir, but you have to do it this way po kasi since you will now be getting the feature from the scanned map. So ikaw din po, there is a component na kailangan mong mag-decide where you will now put the point. So it's better that you do it manually. Especially, kaya ko po sinabi kanina, when you're now creating your layers like your points, your lines, or your polygons, depende kung kaano nyo gustong ka-accurate yung linya nyo or yung polygon nyo because it is now based on your objective. Kailangan mo ba yon for just like a visual effect lang or gusto mo lang gumawa ng simpleng map or you will use it now for delineating a watershed, kukunin mo yung mga area ng mga contributing area. So something like that. So mas maganda po kasi may component that you have to decide where to put those points. So wala pong, there are plugins that you can now explore here or you can just go to Google and then they have plugins for QGIS. They have a repository for it and you can also download them. So pagka wala dun sa may QGIS here plugin, you can go to the site QGIS plugins web portal and then all of those plugins that you might need might be here. So if you also want to contribute, gumawa ka ng code mo for a plugin that will do that, you can do that too. You can also upload your own plugin. Did I answer the question po?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay po. Thank you. Ma'am Karen, meron po yatang mag-share for the digitizing. So I stop my screen share so that he can share his screen.
Yes po. Pwede po. Pwede na pong mag-share kung sino man. Let me know. Sino po ba? The screen is already available po. Okay. Sir Joshua.
This was this was what I did po. I tried to nag-start ako dun sa mga mountain peaks, selected some mountain peaks, and then I decided to try to digitize yung contour lines ng Moose Mountain. It started on at 825 meters elevation, and then ang increments na po kasi according to the image here dun sa may map natin is at 10 call this 10 meters interval yung contour lines. So what I did is for me to be able to have the data for this contour is I subtracted an interval of 10 meters para magkaroon ng values yung lines natin. As seen here in the attribute table, we have the different lines. May napalitan lang ata ako ng values dito sa may feed niya kaya nagkaroon ng X values dun sa X dun sa may contour lines ko. But then anyway, meron na yung elevation niya in meters above sea level. So yun po. I'll stop sharing na po.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. So, ayun po yung example natin. Do you have any question? Or any additional, Ma'am Michelle, dun sa shinare?
Ma'am, merong nag-chat and then sabi niya, "Hi, I just joined the workshop and was not able to attend the first part. I would like to ask paano mag-render ng points if galing sa geotag locations or is it possible?" Um, for example, may mga handheld kayong GPS. So that GPS, you can get the points. So pagkapunta kayo sa GIS, you also go to layers and then add layer and then GPS points. Asa na yun? You just add vector layer and then select where you will now get those
Excuse me,
points.
ma'am. Ma'am,
And
wala po
then,
ata yung screen.
sorry.
Yes po.
Yeah. Okay, so same pa rin po, punta tayo sa layer. So, pagka may handheld GPS kayo, magbibigay siya ng points, line, and polygons. It's the same. So, what you want to do is to create a layer or add a layer, an existing layer. So, you have to save those points in your device and then you just add vector layer. So, all that we did today was vectors. Wala pa po tayong ginagawang for raster. So, all of this one is now for your vector layer. So, sa tanong ni ma'am, yeah, you can do it, ma'am. Basta embed mo yung file in your device and then you go to layers and add data layer. So, it's a vector file, so you have to add a vector layer. Okay po. Any more questions? Questions po? Okay po. Okay, so maybe we can continue here. I don't think we have time for Baguio DEM. So after you have now created your file, you want to print it, right? So ang gagawin po natin is you just click Control P for print there or create print layout. So you go to File or go to Project and then print or go to New Print Layout. It will still give you the same pop-out box. So maybe I'll give this a name, Mount Marcy, and then click on OK. So eto na yung print layout mo. So what you want to do is create a map. So add picture, add map, you have add 3D map. So ang gusto ko is to create a new map there. So this will now be my working area. So I leave some for my legends here. So kung ano yung naka-open sa QGIS nyo, yun po ang lalabas sa my print layout. So if I will now have it scaled, like maybe 50,000, I just want this portion to show there. Then I need to fix my QGIS kasi yun ang lalabas sa my print layout ko. So to move this one, you select this tool here, the one with an arrow point, so that you can now move your map. Oops. Okay. So pwede nyong palitan dito. So it's like Photoshop. You have to explore it para malaman nyo kung ano yung mga functionalities. So maybe we can do this 25,000, yung scale. So masyado na siyang malaki. Yan. Oops. Let's go with 25,000. Okay, so provided that I want that part there, and I also want to add a text file or a scale bar, andito naman lahat yan. So you can include all of those. So I would like to create a new title for my map. Yeah, I already replied to the first question. Okay, so I can verify it for you later, but for now, I think we should, let's do this first. So you have to edit this one, click on it, right click, and go to item properties. So let's say this is now a lake, Mount Marcy Lake. Kung ano mang title lang gusto nyo. And then you also have the font here. You can change it here. So maybe I'll have it Myanmar text. I'll have it bold and 16. So okay. And then if you have other properties that you want to change, it's all in your item properties. So if I want to put a frame, you can do that. I'll want it center in middle. Okay, so that's it. And you're good. So that's how you will add a Mount Marcy Lake. And then, kapag gusto nyo mag-add din ng picture, you just have to drag and drop of how much space your picture will take. So, go to picture and then item properties and maybe include a logo, or you can also look for your pictures in your device. So, pwede akong mag-add ng kahit anong pictures na gusto ko, you can do that. So, maybe I'll add a certain logo. Ayan. And then I'll make it smaller. Okay. So, if you have a raster file, you can also a legend. So kung ano ang meron sa layers ninyo here in your QGIS, you have it on your legends. So you have lakes, you have your contour, your peaks, mountain, your OSM standard. Kung anong nakalagay doon, yun ang meron sa legend mo. But good thing is you can now change this one. So you go to legend and you go to item properties. And then you can actually rewrite or you can change the names if you want to. You can also delete. So you just uncheck auto update. So I do not want to see the OSM and the raster file there. I just want to see the 3 points, my point, my line, and my polygon. So I can do that. So you can also change if you do not want to retain the name that you have inputted a while back. And then you can change the symbols, the spacing. If you also want to add a frame, then you can do that there. So I think we're good. And then you can also include what else? You can also include a bar that would now be that will now serve as your reference kung ano yung measurement ng map mo. So here, I have 500 meters to 1,000 meters as my scale bar para madaling mag-measure if you want to estimate something. So you can now print this one, save, and then layout, and then you export it as image or export it as PDF, you can do that. So okay, and then save wherever you want to save your file. And then you just click on OK. You don't need to change any of this as for now. And then save. And then you're okay na. You have now published your first map using your digitized points, lines, and polygons. So I think you can better with what I did here. So you can create or input your northings, your descriptions. So if we go back to Mount Marcy, what are the details in the sidebar? So they also included here kung anong meron doon. May contour, may highways and roads, may water features, there's a woodland area, and you have geographic names. They also included what would now be the CRS. So as for your GIS, that is NAD 27, right? You also include the scale, and maybe you want to include your name below. So, you can also include your topographic map and symbols pagka okay na kayo dun sa digitizing ninyo. And you can have this legends at the bottom. And then you can also write your name prepared by what date. And then that's it. Questions po? Do you have any questions? Yes, if you have a lot of data that you can now compare it with. So your GIS is especially created for spatio-temporal analysis, meaning the changes in time and space. Kung anong nangyari 1990s to 2010, 2020, if you have that data, then yes, you can compare. Yan actually ang purpose ng GIS, one of the purposes of GIS. So you are not limited to these applications of GIS, marami pa yan. So while I was studying in Manila, one application they did was to get records from a police station, and then may mga police report kasi yan. So sabi nila, okay, let's track kailan ba lumalabas yung mga mandurukot? Kailan nagkakaroon ng mga reports na nanakawan sila sa Divisoria? So they did that one, and they saw that it peaked somewhere like 3 p.m. ganyan, or mga bandang hapon na. So mga kailangan mong iwasan siguro yung place na yon kung ayaw mo madukutan that time. So those are one of the applications of GIS. Another one, the most recent one, is a map of the COVID patients or yung severity ng COVID in the whole world. So John Hopkins Hospital did that, and they made use of a GIS application. So if you would look at GIS, it's quite diverse. You can do a lot of things with it. Okay po. Any more questions? No more? Ma'am Karen?
Parang wala na nga, ma'am. Hindi ko naman na nakikita yung chat. Okay, I guess.
Okay
Ayan.
po. So, I'll stop share na lang po.
Okay po, mag-share. Okay, guys. So, ayun. Again, wait lang. Yan. So, I guess wala nang question na sagot naman yung mga question natin. So, ayun. So, next, we would like to uh, say thank you to our guest speaker for today for that wonderful presentation. So, bago tayo mag-end, let me present to you the certificate of appreciation for for Engineer Michelle Balong Angay for being the resource speaker on 2021 ICpEP-CAR virtual lecture series with the topic GIS for hydrological applications held on March 5, 2021, given this 5th day of March in year 2021. Signed by Engineer Marvin Mayormente, the ICpEP-CAR president. Again, Ma'am Michelle, thank you so much for your time, for the knowledge that you have
Thank you
shared to
po.
us.
Thank you very
Yan,
much.
magagamit na
Thank you.
magagamit nila, especially that most of the participants are students actually, but we are also happy to see some of the professionals, researchers, may mga nakikita ko researchers. So thank you for joining us here in this event. Okay, yun nga lang, kulang talaga yung oras natin, but expect more later on and we will be focusing. This is one of the topic that we plan to focus on later. Okay, sa mga lecture series natin. Okay, guys. So, before we end, meron lang tayong mga announcement po for may announcement po tayo coming from our president, ICPEP president. Okay. So, Sir Mars, are you around?
Yes,
Yes po.
yes, hello. Thank you very much, Ma'am Karen, and congratulations and thank you, Ma'am Michelle, for sharing your time and expertise for this seminar series for ICpEP-CAR. And before we end, I just want to announce or give announcement uh, to look forward for the students and professionals of ICpEP-CAR. We'll have our international convention on July. So those who are not yet a member, you can avail the current membership fee kasi we already have approved the new fee for I don't know if kung kailan i-implement yon ano but ang ano doon is mas mataas na siya so avail the cheaper membership fee and also our conference that would be on October hopefully um, pwede nang bumiyahe so we can have that in region 1 ICPEP Region 1. Okay? And also, yung mga hindi pa nakapag-member, mag-member na po tayo, you can easily approach your officers in your respective schools kung meron po kayong kung gusto niyo pong mag-member and also follow our FB page. Meron po tayong FB page doon. Nandun din kung paano mag-member. Okay? And expect this month March will start the CPE certification caravan. So mauuna ang Luzon and then followed by April ng Visayas and then Mindanao. So our national president, Sir Apag, will be the one in charge for the CPE certification caravan. And we are happy to inform you that we have ongoing transaction with PRC for the CSC equivalency of the CPE certification. And meron din pong tuloy po yung yung bill, CPE bill, nasa Congress na po siya. So we hope that in the near future may pasa yung may sa batas yung CPE bill, and also mag-grant yung ating CPE certification or CSC equivalency. Okay, so that's all. I hope you enjoyed the seminar, the webinar. Thank you very much, Ma'am Michelle, for that very informative webinar. Parang kulang nga talaga. Ang ganda pala pagka-workshop siya. I hope this coming April, meron ulit tayo hanggang December. So that is already part of our plan na meron tayong every month webinar workshop. So ito yung tinatawag ni Ma'am Karen na lecture series natin. So, and a round of applause to Sir Dion kasi siya yung heading this kind of activity for the VP for Education. Sir Dion, maraming salamat for your very active and napaka prompt na na activities. Talagang kung ano yung nasa plan natin nangyayari. And sa mga students natin, expect more for the upcoming months for another seminar series. Okay, that's all. Thank you very much. Ma'am Karen?
Okay. So, ayun po. So, this is the end of this event. Again, thank you for joining us. Please, for those na hindi pa naka-register, you may visit facebook.com groups ICpEP-CAR official. Please register. I guess I've seen participants who haven't registered yet. So, please, paki-open na lang. And then, any questions, membership, or with this presentation, the video later, we will upload it to that group, and you can always message us in icpep.car@gmail.com. So again, if you don't have question, thank you so much for joining us, and wait until April siguro or next month. Hindi natin alam, but we will be having more. Okay. So picture daw po muna. So may we ask everyone to please open their web, okay, or their webcams para makapag-picture tayo. Sir, pa-back up po ako ng iba. Ayan. So yan, it's nice to see you. Okay, ganyan. Okay po.
Yan, share mo muna, Karen.
Share ko po. Okay. Okay, so everyone please, pa-open po ako ng
And share please.
Okay. So, ayan. Sir, po back up po ako ng i-capture ko rin po dito. Okay. So, 1, 2. Okay. Okay. Next page. Ayan. So, marami tayo eh. Okay. 1, 2. Okay. I guess that's the last one na. Okay po, thank you again for joining us.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. See you.
Bye-bye.
눈이 마주친 순간 Hey right now 정신없이 빠진다 심장 뛰는 소리
Koreana.
지금부터 너만 보인다 이게 사랑일까 사랑일걸 oh baby 생각만 해도 들뜨게 되는 걸
Message lang po pag may question and then
점점 네가 좋아져 어떻게 해야 돼 자꾸 좋아져 뽀삐 뽀삐라고 점점 내게 빠져들어 감당이 안 돼 baby 너를 보면 뽀삐 뽀삐라고 baby
Happy lunch po, everyone.
네가 뭘 알겠어 아마 넌 모를 거야 내가 얼마나 널 좋아하는지 우리라도 다 알겠어 하늘의 닭이야 굳이 비유하자면 갤러리야 너만 보고 있은 그림 속에 내 이야기 스토리 각본 대본 필요 없는 날